Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Planet X News, October 30th, 2019. And ladies and gentlemen, I have a lot to talk about today. And, it's a hot topic. Anytime we talk about climate change and global warming, things of that nature, it just seems that as soon as you post any information about this, the opposition comes out. The opposition comes out and they call you a liar. They literally call BS on all of the information that you are providing. The fact of the matter is, folks, that we are undergoing a very, very severe climate change worldwide. And sooner or later, probably sooner, it's going to be affecting every man, woman, child, and living creature on this planet. But it seems that there is this opposition, just like the opposition that I go through when dealing with Planet X observational information and data. Yeah. So this morning, very, very early this morning at about 4 a.m., I was waiting for, the last couple of days, I've been waiting for this one report to come out that was based on the use of some new technology to show where vulnerable cities and locations with heavy populations would be affected by sea level rise. Oh boy. Don't say that word on social media. You'll get your account instantly blocked. Well, that's already occurred, folks, because after I did all of my research, went through all of these reports, and I created 2 articles this morning and posted them. No sooner than I posted both of these articles on the Planet X News website and my news website, Facebook once again has, well, they haven't really suspended my personal account, but I can't post anything on my personal Facebook page. This has been happening to me just about 3 or 4 times per week for the last month. And it's kind of unusual because as soon as I divulge important information, bingo, I think their algorithm is picking this up. And I'll show you folks how that's occurring. And now I can post to the Planet X News Facebook group, the page. I could post anything else. I could make comments. I could get messages. So they're really not suspending me, but they are preventing me from showing people this information on my personal page. I don't know why. I don't know. Maybe some of those snowflakes over there at Facebook are getting butthurt because they don't like to see this information. I refer to them as snowflakes, like everybody else does. Before we get into these 2 articles, I want all of you to understand that I research all of my information. I just don't shoot from the hip and find something on the internet that looks interesting. And some people just don't research the info and they say, oh, this looks good. Let me post it. Maybe I'll get a bunch of comments. Maybe people will see who I am. Kind of like that ego thing that everybody claims that I have. I have this big ego. And in all actuality, I don't. Don't have a big ego at all. Let me get this live chat brewing here. And I'm going to show you guys this, but in the same instance, okay, I know a lot of you guys, you post information on social media, and maybe you don't understand all of it. Maybe You haven't done the research on it. Well, as more and more of this research work comes out, I go into it in complete detail. And people always have questions. And then whenever you post something on social media, you find yourself defending yourself. Finding yourself defending the information that you've put forth. Listen, folks, check this out. I posted my first article this morning pertaining to sea level rise. And it was based on the new reports that just came out within the last 24 hours. And this is talking about locations on this planet, cities that are very, very close to the coast. And these cities worldwide have millions, tens of millions of people living in them. And we'll take a look at that. But no sooner than I finished that article and I shared it to my Facebook pages. This is no lie. Within 5 seconds from me clicking off of my website and clicking back onto Facebook, I noticed that I had 43 notifications. You guys are all familiar with Facebook. I had just cleared those notifications just before I jumped onto my website. So I said, holy hell, 43 notifications in a matter of minutes. Let's take a look at them. I would say the first 20 of those notifications were all being made on the Planet X News Facebook page, the article that I just shared 5 seconds ago. How in the hell is that even possible? Number one, the people that were making the, quote, BS comments, and we'll take a look at these, how did they read a pretty lengthy article in 5 seconds? Well, that just goes to show you that the little government troll babies, they're all behind their desks and they're watching what I'm doing on social media. And bingo, they go full board claiming that, oh, this is fear-mongering, oh, this is BS, BS, BS. And they all kind of seem to use the same comment terminology. But yet none of them read the article. It would be impossible. And not only did I post that article, but I was working on another article which I was just about to finish. And that article we're going to preview, and we're going to watch a few videos within that article. And it is going to show all of you how sea level rise occurs. There are 4 main reasons why sea level rise occurs. And all too often, people claim that, oh, what? Just because the North Pole is melting, that's not going to make sea level rise go up. Well, in some aspects, that is a little bit true. But they don't back up their comments with evidence and knowledge. So for anybody watching this video today or in the very near future, let this video be your source of knowledge. That way, in the future, if you ever post articles or information related to sea level rise, you will have the knowledge of how it happens. Okay? I don't know if any of you have seen the old glass of water with ice in it. And they claim, okay, as the ice melts, the water level doesn't go up. But that is true. That is absolutely true. An iceberg floating in the ocean and melting doesn't make sea level rise go up. But I'm going to show you guys how this actually occurs. And here's something else, folks. Over the course of the last 4 years, we have seen worldwide flooding on a daily basis, year-round, both hemispheres, northern hemisphere, southern hemisphere. We've seen a massive change in weather. Let's talk about rain, precipitation. No longer do we get a little sprinkle of rain. No longer do we get a quarter inch of rain. Today, here in Pittsburgh, we're expecting 1.5 inches of rain in about 14 hours or less. That's a lot. That's a lot for the streams, the rivers, and tributaries to handle, including all of the runoff. What happens? You get flash flooding. What is occurring all around the world on a daily basis? These massive, massive storms dumping tons and tons of gallons of water. We all saw what happened this spring out in the Midwest here in the United States, potentially damaging very important crops that we use to make food. Food products that you buy on the shelf at your grocery store or Walmart. But anyways, before we get into all of that, something very, very suspicious happened. And I knew that we were going to be going under this geomagnetic storm that everybody, the little science world, were all downplaying. The once again, the self-proclaimed YouTube scientists try to downplay everything. Well, I knew it was coming in, just a matter of time. What you're looking at on your screen right now is the only screenshot that I was able to obtain from the geoelectric field map. This is on NOAA. And I show this all the time. Mark over at the Blue Kool-Aid channel, he shows this also. And we watch this because this is the potential damage to our electrical grid. We all see what's happening out in California now. They're shutting off the power to millions and millions and millions of people. Yeah, California is literally burning down. And later on today, they are going to be the victims of 60 to 80 mile an hour Santa Ana winds that are going to stir these flames. Things are going to become so intense for about 24 hours, and the damage is going to be catastrophic. However, moving back to what you see on your screen right now, this is a model. This model is supposed to move by showing you those different colors. And this shows the magnetic fields, the geoelectric magnetic fields, how they are impacting the United States, and they have the potential to affect the electrical grid, also cell phone communications and your internet. Well, I get up at 3:30 this morning, start doing some research, getting some homework done, and I knew that this was going to occur. So this is the first model that I went to, and I saw this, what you see on your screen, and I said to myself, holy hell, look at this. So I went to click the play button so it can actually play, and it would show you the pulses of the different colors. Guess what? It wouldn't play. Yeah. NOAA, for some damn reason, shut it off. But yet, it was stuck with this screenshot. But what I do have to say is one of Mark's subscribers, a gentleman by the name of Troy, he had a heads up. He must have been right there at the right time, and he recorded on his computer this geoelectric field map as it was occurring before the USGS combined with NOAA shut it down. Shut it down so we couldn't see it. So this is the screenshot, and if you look at the corner, upper right-hand corner, this was at about 10:21 p.m. That would be UTC time. I'm about 4 hours behind on that. So this was actually occurring mid-evening last night. But let's check out the video that Troy recorded. So I'm going to go ahead and jump out of here real quick. Let me get out of here. Let me shrink my head down a little bit. And let's pull this up. Troy, if you're listening, you did a fantastic job. Thank you very much. So this was the screenshot that I took. I just included it in the beginning of this video. Now, the screen quality, I think Troy was recording this with a cell phone onto his screen. But check that out. Once again, Troy, again, if you're listening, and Mark, if you're listening, you guys did a fantastic job. Thank you very much, because if you didn't, we wouldn't have this evidence, this data. Look over there, far left corner. Look over the state of California. Are they really shutting the power down because of the fires? I have to wonder about that right now. Those intense colors of purple, if you look at the color key grid on the bottom of that screen, you will see that intensity levels. This is absolutely insane. But it's happening. And you can clearly see, ladies and gentlemen, by shutting the model down at the point in time when this was occurring is a travesty. Once again, it is showing you that they are blocking the information because of people like me and many others that know what we're looking at, and we know how to explain it to the world population or whoever the hell is watching us. They don't want us teaching you. And then what happens? You learn, and then you teach others. They want to instill that dumbed down effect. They don't want you to know. They want you to be stupid. That's why they put fluoride in your damn water. It dumbs you down. For God's sakes, look at our teenagers now. Look at our kids. They're all a bunch of freaking snowflakes. My God. But anyways, this was pretty interesting to see this. Since this model has, since we've had access to this model, this is the absolute worst that I've seen it. And remember, my live stream the other day, I talked about the coronal holes, the coronal mass ejection, how it was coming towards Earth, possibly by the 29th or the 30th. Expect a lot of seismic activity. Folks, no sooner than I ended my live stream, I think it was maybe just a few hours later, in the Philippines, magnitude 6.4 blows off. A lot of destruction, big gigantic cracks opening up in the ground. One of my subscribers sent me a few photographs of these massive fissures that opened up, and later on, he sent me a few photographs of some liquefaction. And that's when the ground literally liquefies. Well, this was happening underground, and it was coming up out of the ground and spewing all over the ground. When I made a short video about that, and I posted it on my YouTube channel, posted it on Facebook, immediately I get the little trolls come out and they're saying, oh, that's fake. Oh, that's BS. Wasn't BS. Because no sooner than I posted that video, about an hour later, two of the major news outlets in the Philippines and Malaysia, they were showing the same video and the same photographs, and they were actually on the scene, live. So that just goes to show you, folks, that there are organizations out there, maybe even our own government probably, and many others, that really want to discredit everything that I show you and probably many, many others. But the fact of the matter is, because of Troy and Mark, we have this data. We have the evidence to show that what I was talking about happened. The earthquakes booming all over the world. And our little self-proclaimed YouTube scientist, well, he clambered up. Oh, yes, he did. I'm glad, because even though I was in a mood for a fight, I didn't have time for one. But this is just showing you, folks, that this is what's occurring. This is what is going to continue to occur. This is going to be part of our lives. And it is best that we know about it and we understand it. Remember, knowledge is power. And we cannot allow that power, that knowledge, to be taken away from us. We cannot afford to cower down and let it happen. There are forces out there working really hard against me. There's no doubt about it. I'm not being paranoid. I'm just telling you what the facts are. I see it, and I'm very analytical. I'm no dummy. I've been doing this for a very, very long time. So that was very interesting. And once again, Mark and Troy, thank you very, very much for being up on your toes. I had some video of this earthquake, but I want to show you these photographs real quick. This was the photograph that was sent in to me from the Philippines. And this is the liquefaction that is occurring. It kind of looks like wet cement, like that you would use for bricklaying, and literally pouring up out of the ground. Now, I've seen way worse situations with this liquefaction. Remember last year, that big earthquake in Japan. Wow. Some of the towns on the outskirts where that earthquake occurred, their streets, their city streets, liquefied right in front of our eyes, and we were lucky to have the video. Let's see here. This is just a close-up of what it looks like. But yet you had the opposition come out and say, oh, that's fake. That's fake. But yet, two of the biggest news agencies in Malaysia and the Philippines, well, they were on the scene. Damn, I'm having some creme brulee coffee this morning. Not that I need to be fired up by caffeine, huh? Anywho, let's check this out real quick. Oh, I want to show you guys real quick what happened in my city. Two days ago. This is my news website, MFA Media Group, March for America Media Group. And this happened in downtown Pittsburgh, first thing in the morning. Pittsburgh Port Authority bus swallowed by massive sinkhole in the downtown area. Take a look at that photograph. I'll bring up the original photographs on screen to show you guys, and you can check this out. Now, this bus was just sitting at a red light, and not only did the sinkhole open up way underground, but the whole entire concrete deck collapsed. Now, it did form like a perfect rectangle, and that was the perfect rectangle of the concrete deck. That's how they build roads in sections, and they have to put a seam between these for expansion. Now, folks, Pittsburgh's built on bedrock, man. Bedrock. How do you think they're able to erect all of these massive skyscrapers? They have to be supported by bedrock. Same thing with, like, New York City. Every major city that has skyscrapers. But check this out. Out of nowhere, here's another picture of it. The whole entire deck just collapsed. You can see the thickness of the concrete, but we'll get into the individual pictures. I'll bring them up. And here's a little video clip. I'll share the article with you guys in the live chat, and then I'll post it in the comment section later on, and I'll pin it to the top so everybody can check it out. Look at that. And then on top of that, when the bus fell in there, thank God the bus wasn't completely full of a lot of people. It really wouldn't have mattered anyways. Nobody was hurt. But then when the bus fell, it busted several large water lines. So that added to the problem. Thank God nobody was walking on the sidewalk right next to where this happened, right over here, because later on, that big chunk of sidewalk, boom, collapsed. That could have killed somebody. As of right now, that's a beautiful picture. Everybody in the city, because they dislike the Democratic mayor, his name's Peduto. He's a real pudwhacker. They were making memes with the bus sticking up out of the ground, and they had old Bill Peduto's face underneath it. They had one guy on a mountain bike jumping over it. They were going crazy with all the memes here in Pittsburgh yesterday. But these were pretty incredible pictures. You can see the car right behind the bus. Just 1 or 2 seconds, and that car would have went boom right in there. That person might have gotten injured. This made the news all over the United States because I saw it on Fox, NBC, ABC, even the shithole CNN. There's a couple of videos in here. You guys can check it out. I'll grab the link, and I'll do that later on. You guys can check it out real quick. But as of right now, I have a friend of mine who works for the Port Authority, and I tried giving him a call. I wasn't able to reach him till late last night. They still have absolutely no idea why this occurred. And folks, this happened right in the middle of downtown Pittsburgh, right in the middle of all of the massive skyscrapers. Our tallest building is 66 stories high. Could you only imagine if that started to occur near the corner support section of a large skyscraper building? Yeah. So something's going on. And just at the time that this occurred, we're getting pounded by all of these heavily charged particles spewing from the sun. Is the Earth expanding, contracting, expanding, contracting? Big possibility. Earthquakes were pounding the living hell out of this planet all of yesterday. Alaska is just literally pitted with earthquakes. The South Pacific, the Ring of Fire, on fire. Earthquakes everywhere. So it just proves my point that just a few hours before, or just a few hours after my live stream of telling you folks about this, it all occurred. Boom! So you can't call me a liar. You can't tell me that I'm fear-mongering. And you sure as hell can't say that I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. Because this is not the first, second, third, fourth, fifth time that I've had a live stream. I told people what was happening, and bingo, it happened hours later. So very, very interesting that that occurred. And I'm going to jump over to the Planet X News. Or wait, one more second, real quick. These fires. My God. It's really sad what is happening in California. This was another article. There's a news report from NBC that's embedded in this article. And a lot of photographs, a lot of information. It's just very, very sad what's happening out there. And you can see just I mean, God, look at the size of those flames. Pretty intense. Pretty intense. If any of you are into news and politics, you can follow MFA Media Group on Facebook. I have a Facebook page. We have over 105,000 loyal followers. You can check out the daily news, the headline news articles that I write for the website. And I get the news. Hey, there's sometimes I break news before all of the mainstream news channels. I have my ways. I have my contacts. I'll put the link for that website in the live chat if you guys want to check it out. Now, let's move over to the Planet X News website. Let's get into this. 2 articles I wrote. 2 articles today. Took me hours. I just don't dilly-dally around, you know. Rising seas will erase more cities by 2050. New research shows. This was the headline all over the internet this morning. I beg to differ with the date, 2050. These were their projections. I think their projections may be off by about 20 years or more. This is the article that I posted on my Facebook pages, and within 5 seconds, the climate change trolls came out in droves, commenting that the article was BS. That's the terminology that they were using. So let's take a look at this. There's been some new technology that some of these scientists have been using to create this new report. Some of the technology that they were using before was not accurate. So they weren't really getting the readings that they should. So the data that they were getting was very, very skewed and inaccurate. Now with the use of, for instance, LiDAR, laser scanning technology from satellites and things of that nature, they're able to find and see and map a lot of things here on Earth. A lot of this technology is actually being used to find lost ancient cities all over the world. I find that to be pretty fascinating that they're able to do that. And the archaeologists are able to travel to those locations and do their work and find these artifacts. Anyways, I'll post the link for this article too. There's so much here that if you do want to educate yourself, take the time, read the article, look at the new information, and soak it up, folks. Soak it up. Educate yourself. Because if by chance you live in any of these cities, at least you know that maybe you should make a change. Move. Protect yourself and your family. Because it's coming. It's definitely coming. This is Vietnam. It shows you the old projection of what the scientists were able to uncover with their old data. Right there, if you see my cursor. That was the old projection for 2050. Now with the new technology, you see for 2050, and again, I really don't agree with this 2050 mark. I think that we can see situations like this occurring. It could be within the next year. It could be within the next 5 years or 10 years. This is Vietnam as they see it, compared to their old data on the left, new data on the right. Well, what the hell just happened to Vietnam? It's literally wiped off the map. Now, folks, whenever we're looking and talking about sea level rise, there are many, many factors in this sea level rise. Okay? And we're going to go into that. I'm going to show you the other article that I wrote. There are 4 very, very short videos. And it's going to explain to you how this sea level rise occurs. That way, whenever you post some information and the dimwits come out there calling you a fearmonger and saying BS, now you'll have the knowledge to combat them and say, listen, fool, here's the true facts. This is how it happens. You often notice that when people just make these dumb comments and they say, oh, that's all BS. Oh, they've been talking about that for 50 years. Okay, and guess what? 50 years has passed. We're here today, October 30th, 2019, and the entire world is in peril. If you don't believe it, don't believe it. But if you want to learn, you're going to learn. Let's take a look at Thailand. This is Bangkok. You got to understand something, folks. Some of these areas that we're talking about over in the South Pacific, and we're going to be looking at the Middle East, play a vital role in products that are made and shipped all over the world. Big business centers for some parts of the world. Take a look at the old version of Bangkok. Take a look at it now. Now, I can bring up, let me show you something. And this is what I was doing earlier. Okay, if you take a look at Vietnam, and we go down here, and this was one of the main cities, Ho Chi Minh City. When you look at Vietnam from far away, just looks like one big jungle, doesn't it? Well, it's not just one big jungle. Oops, kind of zoomed in a little too fast there. Let's take a look at Ho Chi Minh City. As we zoom in, you see all this gray area? You see all of that gray area, folks? That's tens of millions of people. Tens of millions. You see all those little gray things? Yeah, they're all houses and buildings and parts of the city, human life, people, roads. Look at that. Now, if you compare that to, this is Thailand, sorry. If you compare that to this, wow, that's tens of millions of people. Where are they going to go? They're going to have to go somewhere. So, yeah, that was pretty interesting. So this is what I was doing. And I was going through this, and I was picking out these areas. So we saw Vietnam and Bangkok. I mean, God, there's millions of people in Bangkok. Bangkok plays a vital role on this globe, whether you want to believe it or not. So if you see all of this, the Gulf of Thailand, you see all of that. That's going to be considered underwater. But not in the report. They don't say that the rising seas will just come up and flood the area. And then the area will be like part of the ocean or part of the sea. What they're talking about is rising sea levels plus the aspect of stronger storms. Okay, we know that is happening. Bigger typhoons, bigger cyclones, bigger hurricanes. And what comes with those big storm systems? Storm surge. Okay, so that's kind of what they're factoring in here. Is that, yes, during one of these storm surge situations, storm surge used to be 3 to 5 feet. Now, storm surge is 15 to 20 feet. We all saw what happened in the Bahamas. We all saw what happened last year and the year before. Storm surge rates are going up, 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 up. So when we talk about rising sea levels, it doesn't always have to relate to, okay, you're going to walk outside one day and the water's going to be above your head. So listening to this information today is going to separate you knowledge-wise from the bozos out there on social media that call this BS. Because honestly, folks, the people that do that, they don't know their ass from a hole in the ground. They don't know. They don't have the knowledge. They don't read. It's a pimple-faced kid sitting in his basement, still toking on his mama's udder, hanging on to her apron strings. Or it's the little NSA guys and the FBI guys and, over there in Europe, and they're like, oh my God, we better call bullshit on this. Oh, the people can't know. The little government trolls. And even they don't even know. Let's take a look at another city. Um, this could actually create some big problems over in China. This part of China, as you see right here, this is a huge, huge economic sector of China. Shanghai. Let's take a look at it on the map. But you can see the difference. You can see the difference from the old data and the new data that just came out. But let's go over and let's check out Shanghai. You know what? I forget where Shanghai is. Okay. Now, remember what I said about those little gray areas on the map? See all this? Looks like just gray ground. No, 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 no. You move all the way into that, folks. Those are houses. Those are buildings. Those are people. Whether you like Chinese people or you don't, they're still human beings. And if you see, that's built right on a bay, a lot of water inlets coming in, and they've been hit. They've been hit by cyclones and typhoons many, many times before. You can see, if we pan out here, you can see their location right around here. And they're kind of prone to it. So when we talk about sea level rise, we're not only talking about melting ice in the glaciers and the Arctic and things of that nature. We're talking about storm surges that are dealing with these massive cyclones, typhoons, and hurricanes. The oceans are warming up. There's no doubt about that. The jet stream, the erratic jet stream, also plays a major, major factor in all of this. We're going to take a look at those videos in my next article, and it's going to explain to you what sea level rise is and the factors that are going to cause a lot of this flooding. And these factors, there's only 4 of them, and it's pretty basic knowledge. But again, I want to give people like all of you, I want to give you the knowledge to fight back. When people say you're full of it, your information is fake, your information is BS, but they can't explain why. But you can explain why and how it happens. So, getting back to the article, it now moves into India. Oh boy, Mumbai. The city of Mumbai, India, is the financial mecca of India. Over the last couple of years, Mumbai has expanded astronomically. Big high-rise buildings, more people moving in, high-tech. Believe it or not, folks, you may or may not know, but some of these other cities that we're taking a look at around the world, you may not think anything of it. But some of the things that you have in your house or in your car or in your cabinets at home, some of it came from these areas. These are huge business sectors of the world. And there are tens of millions, if not hundreds of millions of people living in these areas. So just because this is on the other end of the world doesn't mean that it's not going to affect you in Hoboken, New Jersey, or Davenport, Indiana, or Iowa, or Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. It will. It will. Let's take a look at Mumbai. We'll plug this one into little Geo Earth right here. There you go. I'm going to back up a little bit. Now, this area of India is very, very populated. From all of these cities that you see up here, 1, 2, 3, 4, here's Mumbai. All of these cities, when you're looking at it like this on your screen, you say to yourself, oh, that just looks like a bunch of grass and mountains and dirt. But it's not, folks. It's not till you go panning all the way in. And remember, like I said, you see all that gray sector? Well, those are human beings. And those are buildings. And those are houses. And those are streets and roads and byways. Okay? All of that is human life. Whether you like people from India or you don't, doesn't matter. They're still human beings. And just because you see some of this happening in other parts of the world, don't think that it's not going to happen to us here in the United States, because it is. The same thing happens here with Mumbai. They get really, really nasty storms that scoot up this way or come up this way. There are even storms. I do believe there was a major storm that just rolled up into parts of the Middle East. And one place that you would think that none of this would ever happen, like a place like Egypt. Yeah, Egypt. Well, let's take a look at this. So we see what's going to happen there in Mumbai, India. Here's Egypt. Now, Egypt doesn't have a lot of green grass, man. But the major section of Egypt, where it is green, well, it's not going to be in good shape at all. So here is the old projection from 2050, the new one for 2050. Yeah, you look at the picture and you say to yourself, doesn't mean anything. It's a desert. Forget about it. Well, in actuality, you're wrong. It's more than a desert. That section right there is the only piece of green grass that Egypt has. And that's bad. That's scary. Let's move over to Egypt. Now, you see what I mean? You see this patch of green grass right there? And then all through here? Yeah. That's the only place in Egypt that things grow. I know they have a major cotton manufacturing and growing cotton. And you guys all like your cotton shirts, right? You like your cotton sheets. Yeah. Let's flip back and take a look at that section right there. It's kind of on a little bit of an angle, though, unlike the way we have the Google Earth. That area right there, completely inundated, completely flooded. Moving back to the Google Earth. And you see, the majority of all of this green area that you see there, that's the biggest place where they grow cotton. Yeah. The city of Alexandria, big trouble. All of these people, do you see all of that gray area, folks? All of that area, all of this area, like I was saying before, that's human life. Those are people. All of that area will be completely underwater. Whether it happens in 5 years or it happens in 50 years. Sooner or later, with what's happening on this globe as we speak, that's all going to disappear. And you know, you're also talking about, especially when you start dealing with the Middle East here, you're talking about large portions of ancient history that could be damaged or lost forever. Same thing with Mumbai, India. It's a shame. And, you know, over the course of time, we've seen this before. Looking back into ancient history, especially in this neck of the woods over here in Greece. All of these little islands, all through here and all through this area, they have found sunken cities and sunken artifacts. And just recently, between Sicily and Tunis over in here, they found more sunken cities that date back thousands of years. So it's happened before. Obviously, looks like it's going to happen again. But when? Iraq, Iran. Now, you wouldn't think that Iraq or Iran would be affected by sea level rise, would you? Basra. Let's take a look at Basra. Where is Basra? Boom! Now, Basran and Basra, they're not on the ocean. Let's pan back. They're not on the ocean. But when you pan in, you see that major water inlet. See where that water inlet comes in? Right from the Persian Gulf. All of these areas along the Persian Gulf, all of that will be inundated. Some of these areas are how products and things move from shipping containers to, you know, stores and where people live. But again, whenever you look at these areas from far away, it just looks like a bunch of desert. But whenever you zoom in, those are all houses, those are all buildings, those are all people. Human beings. Where that flooding will come from? Well, it's really, really flat, and it's really, really, you know, close as far as height from that river. If you get sea level rise in the Persian Gulf will push all of the water straight up through these rivers, and it will break open over the banks, and this flat area will now be probably a lake. Where will millions, tens of millions of those people go? I don't know, but I do believe in short time, we will see. The same applies for all of this area back through here, where you actually have green area, where you have greenery. You don't have too much greenery over in the Middle East, you know, but the sections that they do, that's where a lot of their major crops are grown. If you inundate all of that and flood all of that, as we say in Italian, forget about it. It's over. So this is a pretty good article to, again, read it all. You got some time, read it all. Then you start looking into American cities. Oh, yeah, American cities. Well, first off, South Florida, you know, look, I'll be quite honest with you guys. I mean, South Florida and the Keys, all the way over to Naples. I mean, that goes underwater instantaneously. Yeah. One of the main reasons why I moved out of Miami and South Florida in 2005. Just look at the picture. And we know how often hurricanes roll through here. We saw it last year. We saw almost the whole entire state. They tried to evacuate it. And sinking ground. I know they spent about $300 million on Ocean Drive in Miami Beach to try to bring the street level upward. But there's only so much you can do on that type of soft ground. So eventually, probably from Coral Springs to Naples to the Keys to Miami, Homestead, will be gone. Underwater. How far underwater? That is yet to be seen. And you could see that through some of the models, you see that, islands, well, not really islands like this, but barrier islands, gone. Underwater. North Carolina, South Carolina, everything on the eastern seaboard. And the same goes for parts of Europe. But there are places over in Europe where they're pretty high. That shelf is, hundreds of feet high, so they could absorb sea level rise. But places like the Netherlands and parts of Germany, forget about it. They're underwater. Here is a list of the cities and some data, and it's the top 35 cities here in the United States that are going to run the risk of serious damage. And some of us won't be around to see some of this, but your children will, and their children. One thing is for sure, and this list goes all the way down, folks. All the way down. All the way down. Number one's Miami Beach. Okay. You can even see in this photograph right here, future coasts. You can see what this part of a city looked like here and what the inundation from the water would look like. I would go to planetxnews.org and I'd educate yourself. I would read the information and suck it all up. Now, let's go and let's talk about why this occurs. And like I said, folks, there's only a couple of reasons why sea level rise happens. Okay? And this is where the troll babies fail miserably. And I can't wait to read the comments under this video, and I can't wait to read more of the comments under these two articles that I posted on the Planet X News Facebook page. And before we even do that, let's go take a look at that. You'll find it quite amusing. I was actually having a little bit of fun with some of these bozos. It was hilarious. But you ever notice how people who, the people that make the real stupid comments? Look, bingo. This is the video. This is the live stream. Right now, the live stream that you're watching. I posted it before I started. Look at Mr. Keith Upton. I call BS on this one. He had to reiterate himself because he must be slightly retarded. Mr. Keith Upton. I call BS on this one. I don't want to be in this world when this starts. Okay, I know Abigail, she's not a troll. But you could see, I mean, this started 1 hour ago. Now, it's bugged down. This is the article that we just reviewed, or that we're about to review. There are 4 main causes for sea level rise. We're going to get into it. Hold your panties on. Don't get your panties in an uproar here, people. There's only 2 comments there. Let's read them real quick. More fear-mongering and lies. Carl Salmon. Yeah, he looks like a real winner. Yeah. Oh, look what Mr. Carl does for a living. Data analyst at Advanced Climate Research. Hey, Carl, I hope you're watching this. You suck. Yeah, buddy. Carl sucks. Now, this is the article that I was telling you guys about, that I posted it 3 hours ago, but within 5 seconds of this article being posted on the Planet X News Facebook page, the climate change troll babies came out in droves. Now, check it out. 94 comments, 29 shares. 94 comments. Okay, now let's go and see all of the comments here. Now here's the thing, folks. If I go into my Facebook page analytics, it tells me how many people viewed that post, and it also tells me how many people engaged by clicking on the article and going to the website. So that's what I was saying in the very beginning. Within 5 seconds of posting this article, all of these morons came out and they're calling BS, and they're making all of these stupid comments. But they never read the information. They never read the article. They never did anything because they're troll babies. They're climate change, government shills, and troll babies, and they don't want you to know the truth. They want to get inside your head. As soon as you read the comments and you see all of the negativity, you're like, oh, yeah, I'm not even going to bother reading this crap. But you can guarantee one thing. I don't put up fake news. I don't put out fake information. Okay? I'm not Naughty Beaver. I'm not Steve Olson. I'm not, what's his name there? Alex Luhan, and all of these other bozos that are on YouTube that just put out complete freaking garbage. Their asses should be kicked off of social media. Go get a job. Go get a job, man. You can't because your ass is too fat and you're lazy. But anyways, you see my comment right here. I absolutely love seeing all of the fake-ass climate change trolls coming out to yell bullshit on my article. But you fucktards don't offer up any evidence to back your shit up. I do. And there's a link to the article that we're about to go and watch and see what causes sea level rise. Yeah, so you see all these comments. This moron right here, keep changing the date, suckers. He can't even spell suckers right. It's supposed to be suckers. So that just goes to show you. You see my comments, man. I get in there every now and then. I engage and I whack these people around because I actually enjoy it. You know. It's hilarious. You guys, if you want to, go to the Planet X News Facebook page. Pull up this article. Get into the comments section. And find the negative comments. And just get in there and just start slapping them around. It's okay. just don't threaten anybody's life, or try not to use too much foul language like I do, and you won't have a problem. But there's a bunch of them. Oh, look at this. It's all about the money and fear. This jerk-off's over in the UK because I could see load of bullocks. Who writes this shite? I mean, you know who writes that shite there, Mark Rameth? I do. And if you don't like it, hit the road, Jack, and don't you come back no more, no more, no more. Go home, go visit your mommy, jump on those udders right where you should be, because you're no man. You're a moron. But anyways, let's jump out of face puke, and let's go check this out. Now, there are 4 main causes for sea level rise. 2 causes are global, and 2 are local. And we're going to go over this very, very quickly, folks, because it's not that difficult to understand. Okay? So let's check it out. First one right here. We're going to pull this one. Ice melt from land to sea causes about 2/3 of global sea level rise. Okay? I'm going to play this. You guys just kick back and listen.
Big ice sheets from Greenland and Antarctica are beginning to melt from land into the ocean. Each year, over 1,700 trillion pounds of this ice melts, causing the sea levels to rise. Think of it like this. We have a glass of water with ice in it. As the ice melts, the water level doesn't change. This is because the ice is already part of the mass inside the glass. But what if the ice wasn't part of the water already? Adding a piece of ice outside of the glass, we can see what happens. As this ice melts, it causes the water level to go up, because this ice was not part of the water level previously. You can see that once the bottom is wet, the ice cube flows into the water. This is one factor causing more ice melt than previously predicted. This is the same issue that comes along with ice sheet melt. As Antarctica and Greenland melt into the ocean, they are adding water to the sea, raising the sea level everywhere.
Okay, folks, real quick. That example, let's go back to that real quick. You see that example? Okay, remember in the beginning, I told you about the glass of ice water with ice cubes in it. And when the ice melts, the water won't overflow because the ice was existing ice. But if you take a look at the example, and I actually had a dispute with Dr. Albers about this, and she did her experiment in the kitchen, and I did my experiment in the kitchen, and she walked away. Because she was right, but not completely. You see, having a glass with ice in it and the ice melts won't overflow. But as you see here with this example of existing ice that's not in the ocean, not in the water, pours into that glass, and that causes the sea level to do what? Oh, we've had a genius moment here. It causes sea level rise. Exactly. So, you guys can go to the website, check out this video, you can watch it again, you can share the article, you can share the video, but for your own knowledge, now you know one of the reasons why sea level rise is a factor. Let's go to number 2. Now, this is something that that I knew that the troll babies would know absolutely nothing about. I've mentioned this before in little spat arguments with people online about sea level rise, and I say, okay, well, explain to me thermal expansion. And then the conversation ends. They disappear. because they don't know what the hell they're talking about. I've been researching sea level rise, folks, for a number of years. I've collected loads of data on it, loads of simulations on it. Okay? I've read, I don't know, probably 20 or 30 abstracts by climatologists and scientists about sea level rise. And that's where I first heard about thermal expansion. So let's go check it out. This is a short video. These are all real short videos, but these are your 4 main reasons for sea level rise, okay? We're not talking about freaking Noah here and biblical flooding. We're talking about real science, the real reasons. So let's check it out.
The ocean is expanding each year from what scientists call thermal expansion. When the temperature of something increases, it expands. So a warmer ocean is a higher ocean. You can see this law of physics and its impacts through this simple experiment. This is a container filled with water and sealed, except for a straw sticking up from the cap. When the heat is gradually added, the water expands and travels up the straw as it has nowhere else to go. This is the same principle at work in our oceans. If the ocean increases in temperature, it then expands and occupies more space and rises higher. This simple principle is causing about 1/3 of global sea level rise.
Oh boy, oh boy. Wow. Once again, you don't have to be a rocket scientist to understand that. And what have we been talking about for the last couple of years? The heating up of the oceans around the world, the entire world. Thermal expansion. I bet maybe a lot of you don't know that salt water is more buoyant than fresh water. Yeah, that's why you seem to float a little bit better in salt water than you do in a lake or your swimming pool. Yeah, some basic science, folks. That's all that it is. As the oceans warm up and heat up, that thermal expansion, it says it for itself in its name, it expands. You saw the basic demonstration with the straw in the glass, and you heat it up. And what happens? The water level rises. What is happening to our globe? Temperatures are going up. Ocean temperatures are steadily on the rise each and every year over the last 3, almost 4 years, breaking records every year. Climate change troll babies. Who's your daddy now? Here's our third reason, folks. Pay close attention. This is the slowing of the Gulf Stream and how that increases sea level rise. I've talked about this Gulf Stream. It's a lot to get into. I need a whole other live stream to explain this to you guys. But there's a steady flow in the Gulf Stream, okay? And that has been disrupted. That disruption has been occurring now for many years. It's actually getting much worse. Check this out.
The Gulf Stream is part of a vast oceanic conveyor belt system of currents that transports more water than any other body of water. Its overall pull takes water away from our shores, circulating it around the globe. Recently, scientists have seen the Gulf Stream slow down, which slows down the pull of the water away from our shores. This is a cause of local sea level rise. As the Gulf Stream circulates water north towards colder water that is more dense, they collide and the colder, denser water sinks and starts to flow southward, while the warm water stays and cools down, driving the conveyor belt circulation. Scientists think that as ice is melting from glaciers, the fresh water from this ice is mixing with the cold salt water in the ocean. causing the salt levels to go down. This less salty water then doesn't sink as quickly as it normally would when it collides with the warmer water, causing the current to slow down. This slowdown in the Gulf Stream then causes our oceans to pull less water away from our shores, resulting in sea level rise in places like Florida.
Well, there you go, folks. Once again, that was reason number 3. Okay? That Gulf Stream conveyor belt, man, that has been a big problem for a number of years. And it is getting worse. And one of the other problems is marine life. That constant inundation of fresh water. If you guys want to do some further homework on that, just type in Google Gulf Stream conveyor belt, Gulf Stream currents, and you could find some credible articles and maybe even some videos on the information. And again, just to educate yourself. This last informational video, this is critical because we are already seeing this happen, and this is sinking land caused by sea level rise. Okay, we talk about the sinkholes that are happening all around the world. The sinkholes used to be, small, moderate. Now they're huge, massive. And just like I showed you in the beginning of this live stream, what just happened in downtown Pittsburgh, in the middle of the city, in the morning, a massive sinkhole opens up underground and collapses a whole entire deck, a whole entire road deck, leaving a city bus sticking up out of it. So, 4 main factors that the troll babies don't know anything about, and they won't even mention because they don't know anything about it. They just want to discredit the information and dumb you down. I'm giving you the knowledge and the power to defend yourself if you want to post information or you want to talk about or have a conversation about sea level rise. Then, the dimwit that you're arguing with, you can splatter them with these 4 causes and you'll shut them right up. Let's watch this.
There are many causes of sea level rise, but one that's surprising is that our land is actually sinking, making the sea higher, contributing 54% of sea level rise around places like Virginia. There are 3 main reasons why the land sinks. First, water from underground is used for drinking and farming. As we consume that fresh water in mass amounts, the land sinks to where that water once was. The second is that our wetlands are becoming drier, which causes the soil to dry out. As it dries, it loses its density, causing the land to sink lower. The last reason is that we are building heavy buildings and roads in densely populated areas. As we build up, the land pushes down. Simply put, when our land gets lower, the sea gets higher in comparison. This is another cause of sea level rise.
Well, you want to talk about basic. How much more basic can that be? But you don't ever hear the people that are flapping their gums and yelling BS, BS, BS. They don't give you any reason for their comment because they're troll babies. This is a great article that I've put together. All of the information is current and up to date, and it gives prime examples of what we were just talking about. Talks a little bit about the Antarctica and Greenland. Antarctica is the biggest threat. However, over the course of last year and this year, Antarctica, the South Pole, the ice mass has actually increased in spots. But there is a massive heat anomaly under one section of Antarctica that is causing massive, massive chunks of ice to break off. Now, those massive chunks of ice that are breaking off will not cause sea level rise, hence going back to the glass of water with ice cubes in it. See, those massive ice shelves that are breaking off of Antarctica, they're already in the water. So that's part of the mass. That will not make the sea level rise go up. And, it does talk about some of that in here. And again, folks, all of this information that I've provided for all of you today is all up to date. It is all true. None of it is hocus pocus. It's not my agenda. It's just cold hard facts. I put this little GIF in here, and this will show you how heavy the land is, and the land starts to sink. Happens all the time. A lot of areas where I live, outside of the city, we have tons and tons of old coal mines that are way, way far underground, under neighborhoods. This past summer, a really, really good friend of mine, she just bought her first house. She was so happy. And then we had all of those drenching rains in the late spring. And she came home from work to find her whole entire backyard missing. Gone. A 60-foot crater in the back of her yard. Her swimming pool, above ground swimming pool, was gone. Sinkhole opened up. Coal mine underneath. Mine subsidence. Boom! Disappeared. So, kind of the same thing. You put those weak voids way underground. You have heavy weight up above. Water saturated into the soil, and that house that she bought was 55 years old, and it's always been there. It's never had a problem. However, all of the drenching rains that we've had here over the course of the last 3 years and this past spring, wait. It was just a matter of time. And then, under one drenching, heavy downpour of rain that lasted 3 days, flooded all of the streets in her neighborhood, and her house was even built up on a little bit of a mound, elevated about 6 feet from the road. Her backyard completely disappeared. The swimming pool, gone. It completely disappeared. You could not even see it because the sinkhole was so deep, 60 feet, gone. And it did do a lot of damage to her foundation. And luckily, we do have a lot of companies around here that deal in fixing foundations. And they're actually able to raise your house up a little bit. And they use some pretty cool techniques to do that now. But yeah, she was devastated. And I mean, you can see just by the little model there, it's not that hardcore science to understand it. But I hope each and every one of you were able to take something away from this live stream, learn about the sea level rise. It is a real thing. It doesn't all have to do with melting ice. Okay, one of the comments that I responded to under one of those articles that I posted on my Facebook page, I said to the individual, okay, well, we're undergoing massive climate change as far as rain. Well, where does all of that rainwater go? Yeah. It flows off of the higher elevations. It flows into the rivers and the streams and the tributaries. And where does that flow? Like the Mississippi River. All of the rivers that connect to the Mississippi that were engaged with all of that springtime flooding, where did that water go? It all flowed into where? The Mississippi. Where does the Mississippi flow into? Oh, the Gulf of Mexico. Well, where did that water come from? That water came from the sky. That water wasn't here on Earth yet till it fell from the sky in the form of torrential downpours of rain. You see where I'm coming from. So as our weather continues to change, as the downpours of rain continue, that adds mass. That adds to the problem that is already occurring. And yes, you will have people out there that will claim this is all BS. But the fact of the matter is, folks, it's not BS. It's the truth. Will it all transpire in our lifetime? Maybe. Maybe not. But for all of us that are here right now, we are truly in the beginning phases of all of this. And we don't know how rapidly it will happen. All of this can change tomorrow. Keep that in mind. Do me a favor, share these articles that I've written on the Planet X News website. I shared them on my public figure page, the Planet X News group, and the Planet X News Facebook page. Share them directly from the website. Read them. Soak up the information. And get prepared. Get prepared for a fight. Don't shy away from it. Educate yourself with the knowledge. The knowledge is the power. This is Scott from Planet X News. Thank you for watching. Ladies and gentlemen, be safe out there. Take care.